Good morning, everyone. The Thursday, January 27th, 2022 meeting of the Prince George's County Planning Board will now come to order. It is our 76th virtual meeting. Let me go over the procedures for our hearings. Speaker pre-registration and pre-submission of comments and exhibits is required. All participants must pre-register, and all materials or exhibits, if any, must be submitted by, listen up, 12 noon on the Tuesday before the planning board meetings, as shown on the screen, as posted on our website, as clearly stated in bold red on our agendas, and as announced in every meeting. Registered speakers and presenters can join the meeting in the link provided via the email from the planning board office, or may participate by phone utilizing the call-in number provided in the email. And of course, the public may continue to watch live. Or if you wish to become a person of record, you may sign up on the online web form, see the cursor. Please note the screen for instructions. So before I begin with our announcements, I want to acknowledge that we do have with us today Madam Vice Chair Dorothy Bailey, we have Commissioner Washington, and we have Commissioner Giraldo with us today. We have our Chief of Development Review, James Hunt, and we have with us today, we have our Planning Director, Andre Checkley, and our Acting Planning Director, Derek Berlage, here with us. We have that man behind the curtain who makes it all come to fruition with his visual wizardry, and that is Ryan Cron. And we have Kenny Flanagan working the PowerPoint. You guys tell me you can't hear me again. Okay, we have Kenny Flanagan working the PowerPoints here. So if you need something moved along, please ask for Mr. Flanagan. And of course, we have our principal legal counsel, David Warner, present with us today. And we have our amazing technical hearing writer, Marie Proctor, here with us today. So I just wanted to announce who we had. And of course, we commence our meetings with a moment of silence for those who have passed on since our last meeting. In the region, we want to acknowledge, first of all, Joe Gorham, who was a pioneering radio broadcaster, music director, and producer who retired from WHUR in 2018. He hosted Spoken Word at Joe's Place and the weekend edition of the original Quiet Storm. He produced the DC edition of the nationally syndicated Tom Joyner morning show. We also want to remember the Hyattsville mayor, Kevin Ward, only age 44, who apparently was tragically died at his own hand due to suicide. So I just want to take this moment to remember him. He gave so much to Hyattsville, cared deeply for Hyattsville, was a champion for gay rights, and also, and we don't know the why, but I would note that the same thing he would note. If you are distressed or a loved one is distressed, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. There are many avenues to get help, but no one is out here all alone. If you are troubled, and these are very troubling times, the pandemic is anything but a picnic. So if any of you are troubled, here at the commission, we have EAP. There's so many ways you can reach out. Or if you know someone else who may need help, reach out to them and let them know the avenues that are available to them. We don't want to lose anyone else to suicide. We're losing way too many. So I wanted to mention that. Also, and throughout the nation and the world, we want to acknowledge Louis Anderson, the age 68 comedian, author, game show host, and 3-time Emmy Award-winning actor, known for creating his cartoon series Life with Louie and hosting the second revival of Family Feud, and then many TV series like Baskets, and as well as the film Coming to America and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We also want to remember Michael Aday, aka Meatloaf, singer and actor, and rock opera Bat Out of Hell, which was one of the best-selling albums of all time. So that was one of his main albums. And he's known for the hit, I'd Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. So also I want to remember Ian Alexander Jr., age 26, who was the son of award-winning actress and director Regina King. He was a DJ and musician, and he too apparently died of suicide. Again, reach out if you need help. You are never alone. We want to keep everybody. Carol Speed, actress known for her roles in films Abby and the Mac. Thich Nhat Hanh, age 95, the Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk known for teaching the now popular practice of mindfulness, who was nominated by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1967 for the Nobel Peace Prize. Also, I want to, hold on a second. Okay. Israel Dresner, age 92, the rabbi and former president of the Education Fund for Israeli Civil Rights and Peace, instrumental in the civil rights movement, and the close friend of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Gloria McMillan, actress best known for her role as Harriet Conklin in the radio, TV, and film versions of Our Miss Brooks. It was a great comedy, though. Gloria McMillan, Catherine Cates, actress known for her appearances in Seinfeld and Orange is the New Black. Peter Robbins, the actor who was the original voice of Charlie Brown in the special A Charlie Brown Christmas and is the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Bob Golby, age 92, professional golfer who won the Masters tournament in 1968. Sergey Ranklin, entertainment journalist, member of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for 26 years, and former executive producer of the Golden Globe Awards. Vachik Mangazarian, I probably messed that up, actor known for roles in CSI, NCIS, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thierry Mugler, French fashion designer, celebrity clients who had celebrity clients such as David Bowie, Grace Jones, Beyonce, and Madonna. And Elza Soares, Brazilian samba singer. And of course, we extend our deepest sympathies to any of you who may have lost a loved one as well. So we extend and open our hearts to you, and if we may have that moment of silence, please. Thank you so much. So we're closing out the month of January, National Blood Donor Month, National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, Financial Wellness Month, Get Organized Month, it didn't work for me, Get a Balanced Life Month, that didn't work either, National Be On Purpose Month, and National Skating Month. But today is January 27th, and January 27th is Auschwitz Liberation Day. It is the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. And this day was established by the United Nations to commemorate the liberation from the horrific Auschwitz death camp and honoring the victims and the survivors of the Holocaust, and to reaffirm our never again vow. More than 6 million Jewish people were killed during the Holocaust, and it is another glaring illustration of the horrors and dangers of hatred, bigotry, racism, and prejudice, and also following a hateful, bigoted leader. So we should remember and be proactive when we say and act on never again. 1756, on January 27th, prolific composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born in Austria. He composed over 800 works, starting at age 5. 1825, Congress approved what became known as the Indian Territory, resulting in this is really important because a lot of people don't know this story, resulting in the forced relocation of more than 100,000 Eastern Woodlands Indians in the southeast portion of the United States. So many nations, including the Cherokee, the Creek, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, and the Seminole, and others, were forcibly moved, sometimes at gunpoint, from their ancestral homeland in the southeastern part of the region of the United States to new Indian territory west of the Mississippi. And they did that because people, the settlers, first of all, some of the settlers in the Southeast region didn't want them there with them, number one. Number two, people wanted more land and they wanted someone else to go, they wanted to move further west. And so therefore they wanted the American Indians to move further west still in the wilderness and settle in that land. So they did this via a trail, which was long, hard, rugged, dangerous, and very, very cold. And thousands who were forced to relocate via this trail died from exposure, from disease, and from starvation. And it is estimated that well over 15,000 died along this trail, and it became known as the Trail of Tears. So we want people to remember that, because in the end, over 46,000 Indians from the southern states were ultimately removed from their homeland, resulting in the opening of 20 million acres for other people to settle. So that is another example of hate and bigotry and its horrors. So we must remember this in this United States. We are welcome. We are a place where we embrace everyone, no matter your race, your creed, your color, your ethnicity, your orientation, your sexual orientation, whatever it is. That is what this United States of America is supposed to be about. That is what the Statue of Liberty is supposed to reflect. And all of this hatred stuff, it shows you the horrors. So let's adopt the mantra of the National Holocaust Remembrance Day: never again. And each person can make a difference. So on January 27, 1880, Thomas Edison patented the electric incandescent lamp. 1888, the National Geographic Society was founded. 1956, Elvis released Heartbreak Hotel. 1967, tragically, a fire in the Apollo 1 command module killed astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. That was very sad. 1972, gospel icon Mahalia Jackson departed this life. And Mahalia Jackson was at the March on Washington, the original March on Washington, when Martin Luther King was speaking. And his speech was so-so at the time. And finally, Mahalia Jackson said, "Martin, tell him about the dream. Tell him about the dream." And he kept on talking. She said, "No, tell him about the dream. Tell him about the dream." And he went into his I Have a Dream speech. And the rest is history. 1976, comedy Laverne and Shirley premiered. 1984, for those of you who are watching that Pepsi commercial, Michael Jackson was severely burned when his hair caught fire during that filming of the commercial. In 2004, Usher released his iconic single, "Yeah," which became Billboard's 2004 Song of the Year. And in 2009, Bruce Springsteen's "Working on a Dream" was released. Those are just some of the things that happened on January 27th. But we must remember, never again. We do have some other announcements. We're coming up on Black History Month, so we want you to join the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Planning Department for Black History Month presentations. And actually, Montgomery County Planning Department is doing some as well. So for the Department of Parks and Recreation, the virtual open reception is this coming Sunday, January 30th. Start from 2 to 3:30 p.m. The event will be streamed online at PG Parks or on Facebook and YouTube. The program includes an introduction of the 2022 exhibition, which is really nice. I've seen the poster. It's fabulous. More than a month, commemorating 40 years of the Commission's Black History Month program from 1982 to 2022. It has been amazing, and we're so proud to have been celebrating this in a meaningful way for 40 years. It will be on display at Harmony Hall through March 31st. You can see also the unveiling of the new Black History Month poster created by the Black History Month Summer Internship Program. And visit Black History at pgparks.com or .pgparks.com. You can see the site there for upcoming events, because it will be fluid. So next slide, please. There are free at-home COVID test kits. The Prince George's County Health Department and Office of Emergency Management will be distributing 25 free COVID at-home test kits each week at designated community centers and libraries within the county. 1 box per person, and you must be present. and it's for ages 2 and older. Residents are required to show proof of county residency, a driver's license, utility bill, lease agreement to receive the test kits. And they will be distributed on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and Thursdays at 8 a.m. while supplies last at designated commission locations. And some may change from week to week, so please visit the website as indicated. And finally, I want to take a moment to announce that we got a birthday in the house. We got a birthday in the house. That wizard behind the scenes, behind the curtains, who makes it all happen. We want to say happy birthday to Ryan Cron for his upcoming birthday. So can we say happy birthday, Ryan?
Happy birthday, Ryan.
You don't see, yeah, you don't see him that much, and I know he's back there working it and thoroughly embarrassed, but that's what we do.
Thank you very much, Chair Hewlett. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I know I'll have to pay for that later. But again, I am reminding everyone that we've been fraught with challenges in 2020 and 2021, and the new year commenced with challenges as well. These continue to be very tough times as we still grapple with anxiety, stress, fear, loss of friends, loved ones, and we're just plain tired of the disruption to our lives, but we struggle to move forward because we are resilient. We continue to consult with the Prince George's Health Department on a daily basis regarding the percent of positive test results, the infection rate, and the average daily case rate. And there are so many, but we're all at unacceptable levels. But the good news is the numbers are starting to come down, but they're still way too high. And what they emphasize, and what you've been hearing on the news constantly, particularly with Omicron, is that you must get boosted. A vaccine and the double vax is not enough. You got to get boosted. The Omicron has proven to be far more contagious than the Delta variant, even if you're vaccinated. But if you're vaccinated, particularly boosted, you are far less likely to die. Even if just vaccinated, you're far less likely to die, to require a ventilator, to be placed in ICU, or even to be hospitalized. And that's the significance, and that's the benefit of the vaccine. That is the good news. I wanted to mention that in the United States alone, we are now at over 74 million cases, and we've had over 898,000 deaths in the United States alone. In Maryland, we've had over 13,000 deaths. So we want to nip this. We want to nip this and reverse this trend. So do what you need to do for yourself, for your loved ones, for your colleagues. Please stay safe. We are all in this together. It's not just about you. It's about all of us. So if you haven't done so yet, please get vaccinated. Please get boosted for yourselves and the safety of all of our loved ones. We thank you and appreciate your flexibility, cooperation, and support as we continue our planning functions in this safe fashion. And as we embark on today's hearings, let's continue to embrace 2022 and remain ever thankful for our blessings. Let's step up our game and increase our efforts to be kind, to stay safe, to look out for one another, to stay strong, to stay resilient, to get vaccinated and boosted, and remain ever hopeful as we continue our journey to a better tomorrow together. Thank you. So, the first item on our agenda is item 2. We have the draft minutes of the January 20th meeting of 2022. Is there a motion?
Move approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
We have a motion by Madam Vice Chair. We have a second by Commissioner Washington. Madam Vice Chair?
But I.
Commissioner Washington? Commissioner Giraldo?
Good morning, Madam Chair. I vote aye.
Good morning. I see you were ready to pounce on that second, though, but okay. So the ayes have it 4-0. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, draft resolutions, item 4A and 4B. Is there anyone who wishes to oppose the items on the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion?
Move approval, Madam Chair, the items on the consent agenda in accordance with the recommendation of staff.
Second.
We have a motion by Madam Vice Chair. We have a second by Commissioner Washington. Madam Vice Chair.
But I.
Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
And Commissioner Giraldo.
Vote aye, Madam Chair.
The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you. Item 5 was on the agenda. It was an extension request for the preliminary plan of subdivision for Melford Phase 2, but it has been removed from the agenda. So if you were watching for that, it's not on today's agenda. So the next item on our agenda is item 6. It is an extension request for the preliminary plan of subdivision 4-06016 Woodmore Town Center. Mr. Heath, are you on? Yes, you are.
Present, Madam Chair.
Okay, and Mr. Gibbs, are you on? Edward.
You did come on.
Mr. Gibbs. Okay, we'll come back to that one, Mr. Heath. Can you do that? You can go back. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go to item 8 then. So item 8 is detailed site plan 21005, Quarles Petroleum, site 407. Mr. Bishop, there you are. Good morning. And Mr. Horn.
Good morning.
And Mr. Horn. Wonderful. That's it for our sign-up list. So Mr. Bishop, you are on.
Great. Good morning again, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Board. For the record, I am Andrew Bishop with the Urban Design Section. Item 8 is a detailed site plan for Quarles Petroleum, DSP 21005, which requests approval for a change of use from an existing gas station and service station to a commercial fuel depot, which requires the approval of a detailed site plan. Slide 2, please. The property is in the central portion of Prince George's County in Planning Area 78, Council District 6. Slide 3, please. The subject property is in the northwest quadrant of the intersection of Old Marlboro Pike and Gray Eagle Drive, north of its intersection with Siouxland Parkway, and is outlined in red in this slide. Slide 4, please. The property is currently approved with an existing gas station and is in an industrial area. The property is bound by industrial uses on the north and west and by the rights-of-way of Old Marlboro Pike to the east and Gray Eagle Drive to the south. Slide 5, please. The subject property, outlined in red on the slide, shows that it and the surrounding properties are all within the MIO zone, as indicated by the hatch pattern on this slide. Slide 6, please. The aerial image outlines the property in red and shows its relationship to the surrounding properties. Slide 7, please. The topographic map shows the site has been developed and slopes to the west toward an existing privately owned stormwater management facility that has recently been inspected and found in good condition. Slide 8, please. The master plan collector roadway, Old Marlboro Pike, is east of the site and shown in green. Slide 9, please. This is a bird's eye view of the property, which is outlined in blue and shows the existing gas station and the location of the fuel pumps and buildings on the property. Slide 10, please. This is an illustrative rendering submitted by the applicant and shows the site improvements on the property, including the stormwater facility in blue and the buildings on the site in brown. Slide 11, please. The site is accessed from the south and west by existing drives. The 4 existing gasoline product dispensers are located at the center of the property. 2 parking spaces are proposed and shown in the northwestern portion of the site near the service building. Staff recommends the uses for the existing buildings be indicated on the plan and that technical revisions be made to the site plan, such as adding additional dimensions and providing labeling. Slide 12, please. This slide shows the details of the site lighting proposed and a detail for the signage, which will replace the existing sign on the site. The proposed sign proposes a double-faced aluminum sign advertising the use and meets the requirements established by 27.614. Slide 13, please. The 16-foot-high existing building is rectangular and includes a flat roof. The primary entrance and roll-up door are shown on the southern elevation. Yes.
No, I needed to stop for a second. I couldn't see the quorum on the board, but I see Madam Vice Chair now. Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
The building is generally constructed in gray masonry block and does not include any architectural accents, which staff recommend to provide visual interest. Next slide, please. In conclusion, the urban design section is pleased to recommend the planning board adopt the findings of this report and approve detailed site plan DSP 21005 for Corals Petroleum, subject to the conditions in the staff report. The applicant has reviewed the technical staff report and is in agreement with all of the conditions and findings of the report. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bishop. Let's see if there's any questions for you. It's been a while since we've seen you, so it's good to see you. All right, Madam Vice Chair, any questions for Mr. Bishop?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Washington, any questions?
No questions. Good to see you, Mr. Bishop.
Okay,
Good to see you.
And Commissioner Giraldo, you're muted, but we know it was profound.
It was profound. It was profound. I vote aye. But I did want to thank Mr. Bishop. I haven't seen him in a while, so it's always nice to see a bright face.
Okay, but we're not voting yet. That's just the questions, but okay, we'll get to that later. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I
thank
thought
you.
it was profound.
Okay, yes, there we go. Okay, Mr. Horn.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the Planning Board. For the record, Arthur Horn, the law offices of Shipton Horn in Largo, Maryland. Very pleased to be with all y'all this very cold day. Here representing Corals Petroleum, represented by Mr. Craig McBride, who is listening in here today. As Mr. Bishop so accurately stated, this is a simple conversion of a gas station to a commercial fuel depot. Commercial fuel depot is a facility that, like, you and I can't stop by to get our gas, but it's meant for government businesses to use for their fleets, for their vehicles. The Corals Company has many contracts with governmental agencies in Prince George's County and in surrounding areas, as well as private businesses. The city of Hyattsville, for example, even some park and planning vehicles utilize the Coral site. It's an unmanned facility where you come with a card, you put your card in, and you get your gas and move on. As Mr. Bishop stated, we agree with the findings of facts and conclusions of law set forth by the staff. In fact, all the conditions that have been proposed by staff have already been addressed by the client. But again, when you edit the site plan, it has to be done 35 days before the hearing, and all of the additions were taken care of within that 35 days period, but they are all ready to go. I just want to thank Mr. Bishop for his usual thoroughness, and we would ask that you adopt the findings, facts, and conclusions as set forth in the staff report here this morning.
Okay, so let's see if there's any questions of you, Mr. Horn. Madam Vice Chair?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, and Commissioner Washington?
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Giraldo?
I'm going to get it right this time. No questions.
There we go. Okay, so that concludes the sign-up list, and if you had no questions, that means we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve DSP-21005, along with the associated condition as outlined in staff's report, in addition to the noted technical corrections by staff.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Washington.
Second.
She tried to help you out, Commissioner Giraldo. Second by Madam Vice Chair. Madam Vice Chair?
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington?
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo?
And now I vote aye.
Okay, and the ayes have it 4-0. Mr. Horn, you can now, when this morning is over, you can call Mr. Gibbs and thank him.
Okay, thank you.
For moving you
Thank
up.
you all. Have a good evening. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm trying to see if Mr. Gibbs is on yet. To go back to item 6. Mr. Gibbs, are you on? Are you having difficulties?
It was on earlier. I don't know what happened.
But I don't know what happened to him.
He
Okay,
is
we-
on.
This is James. I'll give him a call real quick if you want to go on to the next case.
Okay, that's why I'm gonna go on to the next case, because I think
Madam Chair, I am here.
okay, Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Gingle was all ready to jump in. Okay, Mr. Gibbs, so we have you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, so this case is obviously item 6, which is an extension request for a preliminary plan of subdivision 4-06016 Woodmore Town Center. We do have Mr. Heath, and now we have Mr. Gibbs as well. There are no other folks signed up to speak. There are no exhibits. Mr. Heath, you are on.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, I'm Antoine Heath with the subdivision section. Item number 6 on the agenda is an extension request for a preliminary plan of subdivision 4-06016 Woodmore Town Center. This preliminary plan of subdivision was approved by the Planning Board on September 9th, 2006, and was valid through December 31st, 2021, due to prior legislative extensions of the plan's validity period, which was approved by County Council. By letter dated November 9th, 2021, the applicant requested a 6-year extension of the plan's approval. This is the applicant's first extension request. The extension request was required to be filed prior to the expiration of the preliminary plan of subdivision, and this requirement was met. If the request is approved, the plan will be valid through December 31st, 2027. The subject preliminary plan approves 17 parcels for the development of 1,079 dwelling units, 750,000 square feet of commercial use, 1 million square feet of office use, and 360 hotel rooms. Section 24-119D of the subdivision regulations, as modified by County Council Bill CB-93-2021, authorizes the Planning Board to grant an extension to the normal expiration of a preliminary plan of subdivision when certain criteria are met. For this preliminary plan, the criteria under section 24-119D6 apply. These criteria are listed in the staff memorandum. Pursuant to section 24-119D6A, this preliminary plan was valid for a 6-year validity period and is eligible for the requested extension because the site is over 150 acres, was approved for more than 300,000 square feet of commercial development, and has more than 400 dwelling units in the MXT zone. Pursuant to section 24-119D6C, an extension of up to 6 years from the expiration date, from the expiration of the preliminary plan may be granted by the board if at least one of 3 criteria in the subsection B Romanet 1 through B Romanet 3 is met. Staff did find that the first 2 criterion under section 24-119D6B have been met. Specifically, staff found that the public infrastructure needed to accommodate all stages of development has been provided by the applicant, and the cost of the infrastructure has exceeded the minimum requirement. Staff also found that the developer has been proceeding in a diligent manner to complete the development, and that has been through no fault of their own. They have not been able to complete the development within the validity timeframe. Litigation regarding both the approved detailed site plan as well as the wetland permit needed to construct the right-of-way, Ruby Lockhart Boulevard, which is one of the major points of access into the site, lasted 6 years. Furthermore, approximately 721,609 square feet of commercial development, and the majority of the approved residential development has been constructed in spite of the challenges caused by litigation, the 2008 recession, and the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the efforts the applicant has put forth in construction of the overall project, staff found that the applicant has been working diligently toward completion of the development. Based on staff's findings, staff recommends approval of a 6-year extension request for a preliminary plan of subdivision 4-06016 Woodmore Town Center pursuant to section 24-119D6B, Romanet 1 and 2. of the subdivision regulations. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Heath. Good job. Let's go ahead straight to Mr. Gibbs, and then we'll see if the board has any questions of either of you. Mr. Gibbs, we do have somebody has a question? No, okay. Mr. Gibbs?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Chair Hewlett, members of the Planning Board. Edward Gibbs on behalf of Woodmore Town Center at Glenarden. And we appreciate Mr. Heath's analysis recommendation. And we really have nothing further that we could add beyond what was in our submittal. And we thank the staff for their recommendation and would appreciate your favorable consideration. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. I'm writing this down. That's unusually brief for you, Mr. Gibbs. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see if the board has any questions of any of you at this time. Madam Vice Chair.
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Washington.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Giraldo.
No questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's no one else signed up. We'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we adopt or accept the recommendation of staff and approve the 6-year extension of preliminary plan 4-06016.
We have a motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Washington, seconded by Vice Chair Bailey. Madam Vice Chair.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
Vote aye.
The ayes have it 4-0. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Gibbs. And I'm sure you're giving your partner pointers on the joys of grandfatherhood.
Indeed, I am. I'm fortunate to have 7, and he has 1 and another one on the way. So very happy for him. And thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Okay, you too. Stay warm.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so the next item on our agenda is item 7. It is an extension request for preliminary plan of subdivision 4-01048, National Harbor. Mr. Diaz-Campbell.
Present, Madam Chair.
Wonderful. And we see Mr. Gingles.
Morning, Madam Chair.
Wonderful. And that concludes the sign-up list. So Mr. Diaz-Campbell, you are on.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. For the record, I am Eddie Diaz-Campbell, Senior Planner with the Subdivision Section. Item number 7 on the agenda is an extension request for preliminary plan of subdivision 4-01048, National Harbor. This preliminary plan of subdivision was approved by the Planning Board on November 6, 2003, and it was valid through December 31, 2021, due to prior legislative extensions of the plan's validity period approved by the County Council. By letters dated November 30, 2021, and December 20, 2021, the applicant requested a 6-year extension of the plan's approval. This is the applicant's first extension request. The extension request is required to be filed prior to the extension of the preliminary plan of subdivision, and this requirement was met. If this request is approved, the plan will be valid through December 31, 2027. The subject preliminary plan approved 98 lots and 8 parcels for the development of 3,243,000 square feet of commercial floor area and 3,600 hotel rooms and a visitor center. Section 24-119D of the subdivision regulations, as modified by CB 93-2021, authorizes the planning board to grant an extension to the normal expiration of preliminary plan subdivision when certain criteria are met. For this preliminary plan, the criteria under section 24-119D6 apply. These criteria are listed in the staff memorandum. Pursuant to section 24-119D6A, this plan is valid for a 6-year validity period and is eligible for the requested extension because it has more than 300,000 square feet of commercial development in the mixed-use transportation zone. Pursuant to section 24-119D6C, an extension of up to 6 years from the expiration of the preliminary plan may be granted by the planning board if at least one of the 3 criteria in section 24-119D6B, subsections Romanet 1 through Romanet 3 is met. Staff did find that the first and second criteria of section 24-119D6B were met. For the first criterion, staff found that public infrastructure, which was determined to be the developer's responsibility, has been constructed by the developer in order to accommodate all stages of the development. By now, all of the transportation infrastructure needed to serve the development has been constructed. The stormwater pond and utilities have also been constructed, with further connection to those utilities to occur as more development takes place. For the second criterion, staff found that the developer has been proceeding in a diligent manner to complete the development, as development at National Harbor has been continuous over the years since the project began in 2004. Construction of the convention center and waterfront was complete by 2009. Construction of the MGM Casino and Hotel took place between 2016 and 2017. And construction of the condominium townhomes has been ongoing since 2011. The applicant has also obtained detailed site plan approvals as recently as 2020 for the remaining parcels to be developed. Staff also found that it has been through no fault of the applicant that they have been unable to complete the development within the validity timeframe. Based on information given by the applicant in their November 30 and December 20 letters, the applicant has been working to find uses to occupy the development, but has needed to be highly selective of such uses based on National Harbor's role as an urban destination resort established in the conceptual site plan, CSP-98012. Development could have occurred more rapidly, but only by accepting uses that might not have enriched the community or contributed to the harbor being an entertainment destination. Approval of an extension would allow the applicant additional time to acquire tenants who will bring high-quality development and contribute positively to the project's overall vision. Based on staff's findings, staff recommends approval of the 6-year extension request for preliminary plan subdivision 4-01048, National Harbor, pursuant to section 24-119 D6B, Romanet 1 and Romanet 2 of the subdivision regulations. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz-Campbell. Appreciate it. So we're now going to turn to Mr. Gingles, and then I'll see if the board has any questions of either of you. Mr. Gingles, you're on.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Andre Gingles with offices in Laurel, Maryland. Appreciate the work of Mr. Diaz-Campbell and his communications with me, requesting some additional information. Just 3 things to note. We're roughly, first, I want to thank both the planning board and commission staff for a lot of past support over the past 20 plus years as we move through the project. A lot of things have come up from time to time, and both the planning board and commission staff have been willing to engage us as we've tried to move the project forward. I note that in Mr. Diaz's staff report on page 4, he expresses that while it's possible to complete the development more quickly, there was a need for the project to be highly selective. That was both, I think, a requirement adopted by the district council early on, adopted by this planning board in the approval, and much at the forefront of the Peterson companies, the family, and their vision for the project. I just note that, yes, there are a lot of things that we could have done. In fact, the prime area of the project has yet to be developed. And we intend to remain very selective and to prioritize continuing to bring the quality to the county. We were very fortunate in that we did not, like other certain developments, have to go through some of the additional entitlements and approvals. And while that's helped us, it has also allowed them to constantly prioritize bringing in quality. With that, we hope to continue the same. We may be finished by the end of the 6 years, but again, our preference is, and we think the county's is that we constantly do everything to make it the quality and the national sort of place that it's become for Prince George's County. With that, Madam Chairman, again, I thank you and the staff and the rest of the board and ask for your favorable consideration of that recommendation.
Thank you. I do have a comment, but I'll reserve after to see if there are any questions. First of all, Madam Vice Chair, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Washington?
No questions, just other than it's a phenomenal project, and it's exciting to see it continue to grow as envisioned. Thank you, Mr. Gingles.
And Commissioner Giraldo?
No questions for Mr. Gingle. Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no questions for either Mr. Gingles or Mr. Diaz-Campbell, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendation of staff and approve the 6-year extension for preliminary plan 4-01048.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. A motion by Commissioner Washington, seconded by Madam Vice Chair. I'm going to take a moment during discussion. I wanted to let Mr. Gingles know that, I wanted to commend, I have to remember the late Milt Peterson for his vision for National Harbor. It's important. Many tried to develop this area before Mr. Peterson, but he brought it to fruition, and he brought it to fruition in constant consultation with the county. And I know sometimes it's very hard sometimes to work, when you want to proceed one way, when an applicant or developer wants to proceed one way, and, you've got staff and government, different entities of government saying, okay, but you got to do this and you got to do that. I noted over the years, and I was here and proud to approve the first preliminary plan for National Harbor in 2003. And the work that Milt Peterson did was phenomenal, and the Peterson companies did was phenomenal. And they did it, they collaborated very, very much with government and understood there are regulations and things with which you must comply. And he, I'm sure everybody grouses somewhat, but he didn't grouse much. He did what was needed to be done. It resulted in a beautiful destination resort that is only going to get better and better. And I just think it's phenomenal. It is a gem, and it's one of the many gems in Prince George's County, and it is a beautiful gem. There's diamonds, there's rubies, but this is one of the high quality gems in Prince George's County. And Mr. Gingles, you helped with your acumen bring this to fruition. So we wanted to commend you, and just pay homage to Mr. Peterson. And so I had to comment on that. It's just been phenomenal, and I loved the way he worked with not only Prince George's County government, but with Park and Planning. So that's my discussion. I'm going to call for the vote. Madam Vice Chair.
Well, Madam Chair, you brought back memories of that time, which was very exciting. I was on the council at that time and also chaired the council at the time. I recently took not recently, but several years ago, I took my grandson to National Harbor, and I was so proud and told him about all the wonderful things that were there. And he loves going out there to National Harbor. And I said, and guess who was one of the first persons to have a shovel and put it in the ground for this project? He didn't think that was interesting at all. So I just lost it. It was like, what does that mean? Are we still going shopping? But anyhow, it's a pleasure to support this item. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's an aye. Okay.
That's an aye. I thought I said.
Okay. Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
And Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye, and I share in your comments and those of Commissioner Bailey. As you know, I live in South County, so I pass by National Harbor all the time. And I've seen it from its infancy stages to where it is now. And it really is an economic boost for the county. I'm just waiting to see if we can get a tram to go from Tanger Outlet to National Harbor. I vote aye.
You can walk.
Okay. The ayes have it 4-0, and I would say, Madam Vice Chair, is nothing like a grandchild to put things in perspective for you, bring you back to reality. But yes, it is wonderful. So, Mr. Gingles, we thank you, and we thank the Peterson companies and the late Milt Peterson for bringing his vision to fruition.
Thank you much.
Okay. Have a good day.
Good day.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the FY22 Historic Property Grant Program Award Recommendations. Mr. Tanner, are you on?
I am. Thank you.
Wonderful. And is Mr. Berger on it? Oh, there. Mr. Berger, what happened to you?
I should be. Can you hear me?
We hear you. I just don't see you. I don't see you, but
I don't know. I'm having difficulty with the camera, but as long as the microphone works, I'll be able
that's okay. We hear you loud and clear. Okay. So there's no one else signed up. So Mr. Tanner, you are on.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Just for some quick background, on April 8th, 2008.
No, but for the record.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. For the record, Daniel Tanna, staff from the Historic Preservation section. My apologies.
No worries.
And I am presenting item 9, the fiscal year 2022 Historic Property Grant Program recommendations. So as you all are likely aware, that this program has been around for several years. It was created on April 8th, 2008 by the Prince George's County Council. And the program provides grants to nonprofit organizations or foundations, political subdivisions, or individuals for the purpose of acquiring, preserving, restoring, or rehabilitating historic properties in accordance with the Maryland Land Use Article sections 26-101 through 26-107. The Prince George's County Planning Board adopted the program guidelines on May 8th, 2008, and these guidelines were subsequently revised by the Planning Board on July 21st, 2016, and again on September 16th, 2021. The program was reauthorized in the fiscal year 2022 budget with a $400,000 in available funds. A 14th round of the program was announced in July 2021, and 4 virtual workshops for potential applicants were held in August and September. All 4 workshops were hosted on the Countywide Planning Division's GoToMeeting account. In addition, a recording of the September 16th workshop and presentation was uploaded to the grants page of the Planning Department's website and the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission's YouTube page for individuals who could not attend any of the available workshops live. Mailings advertising the 2022 program year with information on the workshops and application deadlines were sent to all property owners in historic districts, all owners of historic sites and historic resources, and to the county's 27 municipalities. A total of 23 people registered for the workshops. 11 completed applications. Next slide, please. Thank you. 11 completed applications were received and compiled by Planning Department staff, totaling $437,566.80 in requested grant funds for the FY 2022 program year. One applicant requested that their application be withdrawn on December 23rd, 2021, reducing the total requested funds to $431,446.80 as shown here. Next slide, please. Thank you. This is just a very quick encapsulation of the criteria that are used to score applications to the program. These criteria total up to 100 potential points. And you'll notice the 2 highlighted criteria here were the ones most recently changed by the update to the guidelines in September of 2021. Next slide, please.
He's working on it. Hold tight.
Yeah, that's okay. I feel like this happens to me all the time where it just stops responding. Thank you. And this is just a breakdown showing the applications and where.
Hold on a second. Hold on still.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
No. I'm talking to our wonderful IT team here, Mr. Flanagan and the wizard, and the birthday wizard. Okay, we're good now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this is just showing where the applications were received from and the amounts of the requests. The yellow dot that's sort of in District 9 there is the application that was withdrawn. So you can see that this year, for whatever reason, there was a very large concentration in the north part of the county for applications. But this is where all of the final ones were received from. And then next slide, please. I'll get into the review to this point. So in accordance with program guidelines, a grant committee consisting of 5 Historic Preservation Commission members and 4 Planning Department staff members was appointed by the HPC chair to review applications and provide award recommendations. The committee evaluated and scored the proposed projects using the selection criteria and the program guidelines and made award recommendations accordingly. This year, eligible grant requests exceeded the available funds by $31,446.80. As a result, the grant committee utilized strategic reductions based on applicant scores in order to increase the total number of properties that were recommended to receive funds and to try to direct funds to proposed work that most exemplifies the purpose of the program. The table here provides detailed funding recommendations, and you can see here basically what the HPC decided to do was everyone who had scored over a, I believe 75, got their requests fully funded, or over 76, I guess. And everyone below that got a fair amount of their funding, almost fully funded. This is one of the first years in recent memory where we actually were close enough. The deficit of funding was close enough that we were able to fund almost every application, if not fully, then significantly, which we're very pleased with. So because of that, I'll go through the applications really quickly here. If I could have the next slide, please. And this is just a brief description of the projects and what they requested. This is St. Joseph's Chapel requesting $33,280 for the repointing of deteriorated mortar joints, the repainting of wood roof brackets, and the restoration of a gravel drainage bed at the north side of the building. Next slide, please. This is the Rizzo House requesting $23,850 for the replacement of a concrete driveway and attached walkways, which runs right next to the foundation of the house. This should hopefully prevent water damage to the foundation and basement of the property that's been ongoing. Next slide, please. This is for 7300 Dartmouth Avenue in Old Town College Park Historic District for $42,600, which would all be used for comprehensive rehabilitation of their historic windows. Next slide, please. This is the Schneidman House requesting $41,148.45 to replace an HVAC system to help with some interior plaster damage that's been happening due to moisture, and then also to do exterior painting and carpentry repairs and the replacement of an electrical breaker panel. Next slide, please.
We're behind the slide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The one that's still up is the Dartmouth Avenue one.
Can you guys see the next one should be Hitching Post Hill?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I'll wait a minute. I see it on my end, so it should be coming soon.
Here, we have it.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. And thank you for letting me know.
You not have it, Commissioner Geraldo?
I have it now.
Okay, thank you.
I'll try to slow it down.
It's just a delayed on, okay, on your end. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is Hitching Post Hill requesting $50,000 for the refinishing of the roof and sealing of both seams on the roof itself and on the built-in gutter system that runs along the roof. Next slide, please. Just give it a second here. This is the Lewis Holden House, requesting $46,268.35 for basement foundation repair and the repair or replacement, if repair is not feasible, of windows in the house. Next slide, please. This is the Lown House requesting $50,000 to replace two structural members, two main beams and sill plates that had suffered termite damage. The termite infestation has been taken care of, and so now that there's no longer any active damage occurring, they'd like to get this repaired. Next slide, please. This is for the Jones Sheridan House, requesting $50,000. This is a second phase of, or would be a second phase of grant-funded work for the exterior rehabilitation of this property. The first phase was the removal of all of the later synthetic siding that was put on, and this would be a continuation of the exterior rehabilitation that would include the purchase of replacement siding so that can be installed where it can't be repaired, carpentry work to repair the existing siding that is repairable, the installation of the siding that has been purchased, and then a lot of prep work, filling nail holes, painting, and carpentry repairs to window sills and other exterior trim. Next slide, please. This is the Browning Baines House, requesting $44,300 for the rehabilitation of a wraparound porch and kitchen porch at the property. Next slide, please. This is the Thomas Seabrook House. This is our final application requesting $50,000 to replace the cedar shake roof on the roof of the property. And that is all of the applications that we have before us this year. Our last slide is just a repetition of the Historic Preservation Commission's scoring and recommendations, with a note that, as in previous years, this year they have decided to recommend for any potential reallocation of funds that needs to occur due to the refusal or termination of a grant contract, that available funds be reallocated to the next highest scoring partially funded project until the project is fully funded or the funds are exhausted, whichever comes first. So yes, thank you. Based on the applications received and the grant committee and HPC recommendations, the HPC has approved the grant committee's recommendations at its January 18th, 2022 meeting. And we are now requesting that the planning board select the final grant recipients for the fiscal year 2022 Historic Property Grant Program. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Tana. And Mr. Berger, was there anything else that you care to add, or are you just here if needed?
I have nothing specific to add. Thank you,
Okay,
Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to see if the board has any questions of anyone. I'm going to start with Madam Vice Chair.
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Washington?
No questions. Thank you, Mr. Tanner.
Okay, and Commissioner Giraldo?
I just have one question. When the repairs are to windows or replacement of windows or doors, what kind of requirement do we put as to what types of windows or doors they install?
So all of this work, should these awards be finalized today, any work that would be funded by this grant program, because these are all historic sites or would be required to become historic sites if they are not already, which is, there's only one property that falls into that category. All of the work before it can be done and then subsequently reimbursed will have to go through HPC review and approval. And the Historic Preservation Commission has one policy in place that requires that, for historic sites like this, we typically don't allow synthetic windows to be used if there are replacement windows, unless they're replacing windows that were already synthetic at the time of the designation of the structure as a historic site. So for any wood windows that would be replaced, they would have to go through that process and would likely be required to be replaced with wood windows that substantially match the character and materials of the windows that were being replaced. But we're hopeful that for most of these, when they are removed, it will be sort of proven that they are more repairable than previously thought, because oftentimes that ends up being the case. And we have some very good window rehabilitation specialists that work in the county and that operate very close by. So I'm hopeful that we won't even get to that point, but if any do end up needing to be replaced, they would be held to those standards of the HPC.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So at this point, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the recommendations of staff and accept the 2022 grant recipients as presented in staff's report and as further articulated by staff's presentation.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. He lives by Commissioner Giraldo. Madam Vice Chair.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
Vote aye, Madam Chair.
The ayes have it 4-0. Mr. Tanner, good to see you. Mr. Berger, good to hear you. Thank you. I am now going to turn to our wonderful Mr. Hunt, our Chief of Development Review, to ask the critical question. Mr. Hunt, is there any additional business to come before the Prince George's Planning Board today?
There's no additional business items before the Planning Board today, Madam Chair.
This is one of the vitest planning boards, and we're very, very thankful for it. Mr. Hunt, commission members, Planning Board is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.